Pete here with the smallbusinessresourcecenter.com. Just want to give you an update. A lot of people have been asking questions about the economic injury disaster loan and the payment protection program. Excuse me, paycheck protection program. It's been a long day. So I'm going to answer a lot of those questions and put them here. Basically, they're asking for the EIDL, when will it be back open for all businesses? You have to keep in mind that the EIDL, despite the CARES Act law, what happened with the Treasury and the SBA, Small Business Association, is they kind of formed their own regulations. The EIDL was originally open for all small businesses, and then they restricted it to just agricultural businesses. I don't understand why they did that, but of course this is causing what I would consider a pretty big problem because a lot of small businesses have not been able to apply. Maybe they didn't know about it, and I know recently I've talked to business people who still didn't know about it. The businesses that do know about it applied months ago and still do not have a response. So it might not ever happen. We don't know. Or if it does happen, my speculation is maybe in about a month when they have the new CARES Act stimulus that they will reopen that. So that's my speculation. It's not a guarantee. All right, next question. How can I check the status of my EDL? For the EDIL, the best way to check the status is to call and ask for a Tier 2 representative. When you call, if you speak to a standard representative, I found over numerous calls, they will only be able to answer some very general questions, and many of them don't seem to like they want to answer anything. So even though you'll get somebody quickly, they don't seem to be too informative. So if you call and say, I need to speak to a Tier 2 manager, or I would like to speak to a Tier 2 manager about my application, they will actually review the application number that you have, and then they will be able to discuss things with you. So if you didn't apply or you're in the process of applying and you need help, that's what you want to speak to. Also, if you look in my videos, if you check my channel, I go over the whole application process. So if you look up the EDIL, you'll find it, and it shows you how to apply quickly, and it tells you everything you need to apply. The reason why I did that is because they say it takes 2 or 3 hours, which I understand it could. If you watch my video, you could probably do a lot of research and then get the application done quickly. All right, next question is, when will the next round of stimulus come? Keep in mind that the House of Representatives passed a $3 trillion stimulus bill. It went to the Senate. The Senate has been in negotiation. Now they have spoken with members of Congress and the Senate, and some of them have indicated that it might take as long as July. And I know for a fact that many of you probably don't want to hear that, but they have recess, and basically members have stated they want to see how things are going since things are starting to open up. And then they can better determine what kind of stimulus are needed. I'm going to go into some other questions why I think they should just do this now rather than wait. But, that's my speculation. Actually, we'll just go over that now. I'm going over that in a stock video I was doing, but you might not watch the stock video. I would suggest subscribing if you want to get information about stocks and investments or business too. There's a link somewhere. So when you're looking at why I feel they should do it now, because there's a lot of people who are leasing properties, leasing businesses, or they have mortgages, or business loans, and those people are right now looming because typically you're not going to get evicted in 1, 2, or 3 months. It might take a little bit of time, and all those, despite the fact that they've had such a huge stimulus, when you're looking at a big number, when you take that out to all the companies, self-employed people, that's going to have a drastic change, and you're looking at a lot of places that people may have been renting space. I know people have called me and said, hey, I was leasing space here. Now that I've been working at home for 2 or 3 months, I want to give up my lease. Or some small business owners even called and said, I'm leasing space at a strip center, and I want to try to get out of my lease because it wasn't extremely profitable anyways, and I'm just going to try to do something else. I'm falling behind. For a small business owner, a lot of them have a tight margin. Even if they're making money and they're being profitable, now they have 2 or 3 months of having no income. They're in bad shape, and they're saying, well, should I look for a cheaper alternative, or should I go to this strip center that is charging me too much money? Keep in mind they're charging what they feel is fair, but this small business owner isn't making a huge profit. So a lot of those people, even though they might not be getting out of business, maybe getting out of those centers, and that's going to hurt the economy. So there's a lot of reasons why they need stimulus now rather than waiting. But the government doesn't really look at things the way a regular person does, or maybe someone with intelligence. When will I get my portal login? I applied for the PPP and the EIDL. So once again, if you call the number here, 1-877-641-8202, and ask for a tier 2 representative. If you ask and speak to a tier 1, they don't really tell you anything. If you speak to a tier 2, you're more likely to get better information. And if you do speak to a tier 2 representative and you do not get the information you want, what I would recommend doing is hanging up and calling back, because I actually found that myself, and other people said the same thing. When you call back and you speak to somebody else, you might get somebody who actually cares. I was going to make a video on calling tips. If you want a video on success in calling tips, not just for this, but other type of phone calls that you need to make for business, comment below that you want help with phone call tips. But keep in mind, these are people. If you call in the middle of the day or the end of the day, right when they're done their shift, right before lunch, you're probably going to get very different results. And the reason is these are people. I know one time I was on the phone with somebody trying to fix my computer for a computer problem. It was either Dell or HP, I don't remember. And I think I was working with this person for 2.5 hours, maybe an hour, very frustrated. And then they said, well, I'm going to have to transfer you to somebody else. And I said, shouldn't we be almost done here? And they said, well, our rules are strict. We have no overtime. So now I'm going to have to transfer you to somebody else. And then, of course, when they transferred me to somebody else, I end up going through the same process, and I was frustrated. And I told that person, hey, I don't know if you guys take notes, but this isn't acceptable. I already went through all this. I told the person what I did, and they said, well, our process, we have to go through all this with you. And then, if I can't fix this, we would escalate this to somebody else. So keep in mind, this kind of thing can happen. If you call early in the morning, I'll try to wrap this up. But if you call early in the morning, you'll be more likely to get somebody who is not frustrated at them all day and all the problems. They're not trying to go to lunch. They're not trying to go home. So after what you might think their lunchtime is, early in the morning, it's probably another good time to call. Those are just 2 tips, but I can probably make a 10 or 20-minute video on just how to call and have success for various things. Okay, I have more than one type of business, but I only got confirmation for one EIDL, or I've helped more people apply. I had the same issue because I helped a bunch of people apply, and there is actually a link on the upper right side when you log in if you helped more than one people apply or have more than one business that you applied for personally. And it says change business. When you change business, that will allow you to select the other business. So you got to keep that in mind when you're on that site, because it's very small if you're not paying attention. Okay, I only wanted the EIDL grant. Why did I get approved? The EIDL is not really considered just something where they're supposed to be giving away free money. So I understand a lot of people may have applied just to get that free money. if you got approved, you do not have to accept it. But it was designed to help struggling businesses. If you're not a struggling business, you're actually not supposed to accept the money anyways. If you got the grant money and you don't want the loan, just don't accept it. Leave it for somebody else who could use it, because keep in mind, this is not unlimited money. So they will be capping it, and it's not going to be there for everybody. Okay, I got denied the loan because of unsatisfactory credit. What do I do? Okay, basically, there's a couple things that you can do. First of all, you can show proof that your credit was good during the time that you applied. Keep in mind, if your credit's bad now, it could have been because of the economic impact. You're always speaking to a person. Showing that type of proof can sometimes change the approval when they do manual underwriting. Keep in mind, manual underwriting means when a person looks at it and makes adjustments. For some reason that doesn't work, you can have quick ways to fix your credit and then reapply. You have 6 months to reapply. So keep the information, save the email, do what you can to fix your credit. If you want tips on how to fix your credit, comment below. And I actually used to help people fix their credit for free, just show them how to do it. And basically, you can hire someone or you can do it for free, but quite often you can fix your credit and you don't have to pay anybody. And 30 to 60 days, you might be able to get approved. So once you go through those steps, those were the most common questions that I got for the EIDL, Economic Injury Disaster Loan and Grant, and the PPP questions. The other thing that people have been commenting about, they said that the loan limits now, there are people that are stating they are getting $300,000 EIDLs, which is great, because they had stated, if you saw the other video, that they reduced it to 150,000 maximum. For some businesses, that's not a lot of money, and having 300,000 is definitely much better. And some people are also commenting that they never got their grant advance, and basically they're just getting the loan. If that's the case, it doesn't really matter. And that question actually came up. But if you realize that the advance is actually just coming out of the loan, so if you got the loan but you didn't get the advance, basically you have to let your person know maybe they didn't send it. If for some reason they didn't, you're still going to have that forgivable amount, $1,000 per person currently. The other question is the $10,000 EIDL grant. Will that come back, or will we get the remainder of the money? Some people are saying yes, some people are saying no, and keep in mind that is all speculation. There's no news that I could find anywhere on the SBA through any 100% legitimate source that's saying that you will get a $10,000 advance. There's some people posted that they did get it even though they don't have 10 employees. I'm not really sure if that's legitimate, but as far as the government's concerned, I would almost think that that's not legitimate news, because you've got to keep in mind it has to deal with government and banking. They can't, well, I'm not saying they can't. It's very unlikely that the government would come up with rules, then all of a sudden start to give one or two individuals $10,000 advances and not the rest of the people. If they did that, then they might be, in my opinion, liable for a lawsuit, because they're creating different rules for different people, which that's not how government and banking really is supposed to work. They're supposed to have a predetermined set of rules, and everyone's supposed to be treated the same. So those are the questions that people asked. If you do have additional questions and you can't seem to get help, other people have stated if you talk to a congressperson, Senate, House of Representatives, they've sometimes be able to help people. I don't know this from personal experience, just what I've researched. So I'm going to leave the number for the U.S. Capitol Switchboard for Congress and Senate. And that number is 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. When you call, they'll be able to hook you up with your local representative. If you want to tell them about the problems you had and how to fix it, that would be fine. There's also a number for the IRS stimulus, and that new phone number is 1-800-919-9835. So if you have stimulus related questions, they'll basically answer any questions supposedly. And that's 1-800-919-9835 for stimulus related questions. All right, it's Pete Gustus with the Small Business Resource Center. If you have any questions that I didn't answer here, comment below, let me know what they are. I'll see what I can do to help you out. But these resources and questions should help. Have a great day.